Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get it. Let's go. Thank you to all who have came. Thank you to all that's here. I know. It's about. I'm 40 minutes behind. I know I said 11 at first, 11:30 at first. I said 11:30 a.m. I said 12. I read 12:30 and we there. Let's go on here and get it. I ain't gonna hold y'all no longer. Let's get on into it. Yeah.
Welcome to the Clapback Show. I'm the one and only Big Silence, and this is the original Clapback Show. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and the rest will amaze you beyond. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the First Famous Faces. This is the Clapback Show, and today's story will be about none other than the legendary group the Doobie Brothers, which consisted of about 7 band members that would change in and out throughout the group's life and during their career. To sum up, their style of music would pretty much be a dose of 70s hippie mellow tones blended with deep soul and blues in its rarest form. The band consisted of a racial mixture which would set the tone for how politically influenced towards non-racial personalities they were. The group the Doobie Brothers was formed back in 1970 and wanted the world to know that they stood for the entire world undivided, and once you heard the gracious melodies they delivered across the airwaves, you also heard it in their music as well. They were originally a quartet that became a total of about 8 members. 6 white men and 1 black man that always looked as a blended family rather than a group of men that overshadow one race by there being 4 white men and 1 black man. Despite whatever else you've heard to make that sound as if they picked the members of the group, well then I would have to tell you that you are wrong, and this is nothing other than a coincidence. These names of the members would include, and starting with 4 of the key players who would be the lead vocalist and guitarist Tom Johnston, a founding member and main figure in the rock sound that they created. Patrick Simmons, whom was a guitarist and second vocalist plus the only member to appear on all of the group's albums. Mitchell McDonald, whom joined back in 1975, bringing a strong soulful sound to the group's music. And John McPhee, whom was the guitarist and violinist as well as a longtime member that contributed to the evolving sound in the group's amazing evolution of music. These specific 4 members would start off the group in a strong force-pulling atmosphere that would eventually add in 3 more members down the line, with some minor breakups and reuniting causing an addition to the group's amount of colleagues. The Doobie Brothers didn't need to add any more than the 4 members they had, but they would come to find out that adding the remaining 3 members added an extra euphoric twist in their music, and this was a major plus in the music industry because it kept the group from sounding one-sided and boxed in one category. The remaining members would include John Callan, whom was the bassist from 1993 to 1995 and since 2010. Mark Russell, who was joined back in 1998. Drummer Ed Toth, whom joined in 2005, and percussionist Mark Quinones, whom joined back in 2018, making the band one of the biggest band ever formed in the music industry. After the band released its self-titled debut album and recorded 2 tracks for the follow-up of Tao Street back in 1972, Chagrin was right, then replaced by Terran Corden, and Mitchell Hasek was added as the second drummer back in December of 1971. This was followed by the amazing hit The Captain and Me, and then Hasek was replaced by Keith Knudsen in September of 1973. The very successful project titled, and I quote, "What were once vices are now habits," released back in 1974, which featured both Hasek and Knudsen. The infamous group the Doobie Brothers then expanded in September of 1974 with a 6-piece right before pedal steel guitarist Jeff "Skunk" Baxter, whom was another band member inserted during the band's creation, decided to leave, causing the group to add another member by the name Steely Dan. It was noted that during one of the group's major tours titled Stampede, The group member Johnston was forced to sit out for a while due to him falling ill from some sort of stomach illness he received early on before the tour actually took off, I think. Sometimes we fail to realize just how human and normal famous groups and artists are, especially when you generate a variety of top charted hits that follows up with albums and then touring around the world non-stop with very limited and brief breaks at home in their own environment. These unfortunate famous situations usually include a fast meal and on-the-go diet that also includes fast narcotics and other under or over-the-counter meds that can at times change the course of a person's well-being due to them living a fast and healthy lifestyle resulting in different on-the-road illnesses. With this being the case and Johnston having to leave during the middle of the tour, this is when the multi-Grammy Award-winning singer Mitchell McDonald was added in the group with his amazing soulful vocals and unique tone that he carried and intricate skills on the keyboard. The group didn't miss a beat and continued on their way to musical success and setting a growth trend in the band-formed genres of that time and even now. I couldn't wait to get to this point, said the musical artist Mitchell McDonald, and not too long after he added his touches to the stage. This is when the extremely popular song Tacking It to the Streets was formed and even honored enough to make it on the 1980s trending black TV show Was Happening, which starred three teenage boys from a low-income neighborhood named Raj, Rerun, and Duane, who showed the daily lives of three kids growing into adulthood and having to deal with the struggles of African Americans back in those days, in which they also showed how to remain happy and enjoy life as teenagers, and that struggling was normalized to young African Americans. The follow-up after Taking It to the Streets would be Living on the Fault Line, and this was around the time Johnston would officially leave the group because of him not agreeing to the styles of percussionist performers whom went by the name Bobby Lacka and passed away from complications of the colon cancer he was diagnosed with. I know this story all too well because my mother passed away from a similar form of cancer, and let me tell you guys, if you haven't been through it before, you will not ever understand having to lose somebody close to you from something you cannot see or smell or touch. Cancer is one of the most silent killers on this planet, and I would not wish it on my worst opera enemy. The group released Sibling Rivalry in October of 2000, and the band member June Hasek was abruptly railroaded when he had injured in a motorcycle accident, causing him to be temporarily replaced by Marvin Gordy, also known as MB. Hasek would return, and like I stated earlier, the group would sometimes keep members that they had taken in for temporary replacing and making them permanent members, even though the remaining members would return with no mishaps. This is what would cause such a large number in their member amount, and the number not being the same number throughout the course of the legendary band and group's career and success as artists. In 2005, the band would suffer another loss of a band member when the unfortunate news of Keith Knudsen passing away from pneumonia would reach the ears of the rest of the members. And usually when you lose a couple of people in your life close to you or in a band, it has its tolls that it takes separately on each person affected. This might be the reason the group member Gordy decided to leave the band and pursue other musical aspects. In March of 2012, the group would yet again receive more devastating news as far as losing key members of the band. This time the member Skylark was forced to sit down due to a stroke during spring of 2010. If the news could not get any worse, the same group member that had the motorcycle accident was diagnosed with some sort of cancer, and that alone was enough to startle his influence on remaining in the group. And in 2012, during the month of March, the drummer Hasek had unexpectedly succumbed to the cancer. To this day, the group has changed in members, and as of today, they remain performing out on tours with a foundational base of 4 members that are from the original Doobie Brothers group, and those members are Patrick Simmons, Tom Johnston, Michael McDonald, and John McPhee. You can be spotted somewhere at any large arena or venue in your most populated towns that have a knack for some Doobie Brothers soul funk and hippie hits that you can't miss and will never hear the end of. If I had to label this group, it would be spectacular, with a performance of reaching their full potential every time they had a show, no matter the changes and amount of band members. They are the true definitions of hard work and consistency until the project are completely right and ready to sell. They knew exactly what it took to make albums sell, and for that reason the Doobie Brothers will forever be one of the first famous faces. Thank you all for tuning in, and as always, please stay safe and see you on the next First Famous Faces.